You're watching Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Rodriguez, alley-oop. For the loose start has got Ellis. Rutherford placed the long ball. Beautiful shot. It's Kansas State and Kansas for the Big 12 championship. Another huge crowd on hand here in Kansas City as we welcome you to the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. It is all part of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And as we might have anticipated, the two teams that tied for the regular season championship of the Big 12 will meet for the tournament title here at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. Now, Kansas State coach Bruce Weber feels, however, that his team has some unfinished business today.
Did you really earn it? Yeah. Did you really earn it? They beat you twice. Tomorrow's your chance to earn it and show everybody on a neutral floor. Here we go.
So that is our backdrop as we welcome you. I'm Brent Musburger with Fran Fraschilla. We'll also be hearing shortly from Holly Rowe. And so, Fran, having lost the two games in the regular season, does that help Weber and the Wildcats here today in this title game?
Well, it gives them some motivation because they have the trophy, they have the commemorative T-shirts, but you don't want to share the conference championship with a team that's beaten you 3 times.
Now, if we were to vote on the most outstanding player in this tournament so far, Rodney McGruder of the Wildcats would probably be the unanimous choice, but he struggled a little bit against his Jayhawk defense.
Well, he has, and partly because Travis Rutherford is the ideal guy to guard him. 6'6" with a 6'10" wingspan. This has been a great matchup for the better part of 4 seasons. Now, keep your eye on Rutherford as he works through all those screens in Kansas State's motion offense. Hey, gets away with a little something every now and then, but you just love the fact that he's going to stick with them. Now, Nadir Tharp in Allen Fieldhouse, only 6 feet tall, had a piece of him as well. But ultimately, Brent, it's the Kansas defense and all 5 white jerseys that have got to do a good job on the McGruder, because he loves to get into the lane, and it's going to be a team effort.
Well, as we take a look now at our one-on-one matchups in this game, we've talked about McGruder. But Kansas State's last conference tournament top back in 1980.
Amazing. Think about that. 33 years. Ed Neely, Roe Blackman, Tim Jankovich, and Kansas. They've been here before a lot. And so the first 5 or 6 minutes for the Wildcats, they're going to have to show they belong as well.
Some injury situations, so let's go to Holly Rowe for an update on that.
Well, for Kansas, their starting forward, Kevin Young, has a lower leg injury he sustained in the game yesterday. He spent much of the night getting a light force laser treatment, a level 4 laser that penetrates 4 centimeters below the skin, increasing cellular activity. I talked to him before the game. He said he's feeling pretty good. He is wearing a sleeve on that leg. Jordan Henriquez of Kansas State, their big man, has been having back issues all season, but here at the tournament it has flared up. He was taken to the hospital yesterday and given a shot. Their athletic trainer, Brandon Yoder, told me he's responded very well to that treatment. They've done some yoga-like stretching, heat and ice, and he looked great in pregame warm-ups. They'll need him for the matchup with Jeff Withey. Yeah,
indeed, Holly. And Henriquez is one of 2 seniors starting for Kansas State here. Rodney McGruder, the other. Back in 2010, he came off the bench in that game against Kansas. The Jayhawks won that time. The ringleader is Angel Rodriguez. Now, for the Kansas Jayhawks, you're very familiar with this starting 5. There are 4 seniors, so when you're getting ready to fill out your brackets, one of the things you look for, senior leadership, and the Jayhawks indeed have it. And we've got a veteran officiating crew in this game too here, Fran. We've got Joe DeRosa, who spent many years. As we look at our #1 seeds, Indiana, Gonzaga, Louisville, and Duke. Duke barely hanging on now, according to Joe Lunardi. And if the Jayhawks win today, we are told by Joey Brackett's our buddy, they will vault past Duke and wind up with a 1 seed. So there's a lot at stake here as far as the Jayhawks are concerned.
No question. And also they'll open the NCAA tournament second and third rounds right here in the Sprint Center next weekend, as likely Kansas State will also.
So Joe DeRosa will be working with Mike Stewart and Doug Sermons. And for Sermons, this is his first championship game, second title game for both DeRosa and Stewart. So the first possession is going to go to the Wildcats.
Now keep your eye on 22 purple, 24 white. That's the matchup.
Everything with the Jayhawks starts at the defensive end. This is Magruder handling for the first time, and there is Relaford, who Fran mentioned.
Motion offense, a lot of touches, a lot of ball movement side to side.
They'll slough off Henriquez on the outside. Magruder penetrates, gets to the rim. Tap, no, by Henriquez. Now it's Jayhawks' turn. Johnson gets on the inside, and he traveled. So the Jayhawks turn it over on their first possession.
Side to side. Watch this matchup now. They're going to switch off of Magruder. Gets to the rim, doesn't finish.
A little token pressure here in the early going. Elijah Johnson will back across the timeline for the Jayhawks.
Rodriguez has had 2 very solid games in their 2 meetings.
Henriquez pops out high. This is the motion offense that Bruce Weber brought from Illinois to Kansas State. It's the receivers you want to watch down in the baseline. A lot of cutting off screens. High screen by Henriquez. Rodriguez now drives it down the baseline. Have to kick back outside. Shot clock at 3. They got to hurry. Southwell comes up. They get it back. A fresh set. Ball hit the rim.
And usually when they get that offensive rebound, they don't have to do anything easy. They'll move the ball and use clock.
Magruder wants to get into the scoring column early, and he does. He forced that one, and it was a good-looking shot.
And that's his range right there. He is a mid-range scorer.
Now let's see if the Jayhawks pounded into Withy here early, Fran, as you figured that they would. Withy stays out on top screening, and McLemore couldn't get it off, but the ball was hit, so it was not traveling. Rodriguez got a piece of it defensively. 6 on the shot. Relaford on the inside hits Kevin Young. Young's got to back it out. Ball fake, comes back, rejected by Henriquez. Kansas State off to a strong start in this one.
Excellent team defense. Both of these teams very, very good. Half-court man-to-man.
McLemore got out quickly on Spradling, who was thinking about a catch-and-shoot situation. He's got good range on that jump shot. This is Magruder again, key man for the Wildcats offensively. And again, winding that shot clock down. They prefer to play the game in the 60s. Rodriguez got daylight. Probably should have gone in and tried the layup. That's what Withy does. Now he goes back and hounds Withy. And foul is going to be called. And it's going to be against Kansas State. Rodriguez was slipping in from behind. But I think he was influenced by Withy down low that time.
Yeah, I agree, because I thought he should have shot the ball over Withy. Then Withy comes up with it. Watch Rodriguez now. He continues to reach. He's an excellent on-ball defender. He cannot get in foul trouble early in this game.
Relaford comes around a screen, gets on the inside, and Withy is coming to the free throw line.
Good setup, excellent dribble handoff that freed Relaford to get deep, and Withy just does a good job on the backside rebound.
You know, it was interesting, Fran, as we watched Jeff Withy come to the free throw line. Will Perdue, the old NBA star, who's here working on ESPN radio and the broadcast. He thinks that Jeff Withy may be underrated around the country as far as the next level is concerned. He likes him standing down there in the half-court offense. He pointed exactly at the playoffs. There you see Will's working here. He talked about him. They go to half court in the playoffs, and Withy is that final defender. He said he can do a job for you.
Well, that's what he does so well. And this guy's the all-time leading shot blocker, not only in Kansas history, but in Big 12 history. Heading toward 300 blocks.
Spradling cuts. Oh, boy. Enriquez, not what the coach wants right there. They want him under with cleaning up with offensive rebounds and that little baby left-handed hook of his. And here's Kevin Young now.
Interesting to see if they can get McLemore going early as well.
Relaford slashes. Very good defense by Enriquez, I should say. He jumped over on it that time. Very active. So as Holly pointed out, the backfield's much better. Southwell, Young on him.
Now, one of the things about motion offense you don't like all the time, it's an equal opportunity offense because everybody touches it. At some point, you've got to get Magruder going.
Rattled out. Battle for the rebound. Magruder's on the inside with Withy. And Henriquez was down there too. It's going to go against Magruder. That's his first foul. But there's some early fouls called against Weber's Wildcats here now.
And Magruder got a good look. He faded that screen. Relaford went over the top. He went to the corner. Couldn't get it to go.
That's 3 fouls already against Kansas State. None against the Jayhawks here. The Jayhawks a good free throw shooting team if they can get their early inside pass is a beauty. Withy to Young and one, and there's the 4th foul. So Spradling picked up his 2nd foul, and Young, as you can see, elevating on that bad ankle, so he too is okay.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927, and in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Lexus in the RXF Sport. It's what's next from Lexus.
A must-see if you're in the Kansas City area or if you're a baseball fan or any kind of a sports fan or a history buff. The Negro League Museum, 18th and Vine, also houses the Jazz Museum. It's just a wonderful visit. You look back in time, there's the legendary Josh Gibson in bronze and Satchel Paige out there on the mound. Bob Kendrick, the president, Raymond Doswell, the vice president of services, and they gave us such a wonderful tour the other day, and I really recommend it for anybody to go see that museum. Now stepping the free throw line is Kevin Young, and we've had our first substitution because Spradling with 2 personals has got to take a seat for Kansas State. 4 fouls against the Wildcats and none against the Jayhawks here.
Yeah, that hurts, but Martavius Irving has played very, very well, especially as a starter when Spradling was down with a bruised sternum. So they've got some experience in the backcourt.
And he's wearing number 3 if you want to check him out. He too has played well. As Fran pointed out, he's been good off this bench now for Weber. Here he is handling the ball for the first time. Southwell, ball fake. Kevin Young is right there on him. Fade back. Knock it down and tie it at 4.
Terrific shot. Great step back move by Southwell to create a little distance. Very good.
Kevin Young active again. Gets into Rodriguez. Pass is bad from Elijah back on the pick and roll. And that's the 2nd turnover for the Jayhawks. And here comes Southwell. Southwell got Withy up in the air. That is rare when you see Withy get up in the air like that. And he didn't expect it. He was looking to pass the ball off of it. He might have been able to do some business against him.
I agree. I thought he should have kept his dribble alive. One more dribble. He could have got to the rim. Now let's see if Thomas Gibson, who's played very well, can stay on the floor. He has 9 fouls in 28 minutes in 2 games versus Kansas.
Meanwhile, Perry Ellis, who was the scoring sensation off the bench when Young was injured, he's checked in. He's out defending Southwell right now. You want to watch him. He's from Wichita. He's number 34. He's got a tremendous upside.
And Relaford not worried about anything happening away from him. He's just going to guard Magruder. He's on an island.
Southwell, ball fake, drives in, rolls it up over Withy, missing. McLemore rebounding, and the Jayhawks coming back. Southwell is on McLemore. Meanwhile, Relaford puts the Jayhawks back in the lead by 2.
Good screen by Withy. Relaford very comfortable coming off those screens. Really improved.
Rodriguez for the penetration. Withy staying with it. Comes down with a defensive rebound. Great outlet pass from Withy. And Relaford finishes.
Relaford knows how to smell that outlet. He does a terrific job of getting out early. Call it leaking if you want, but he knows how to get out there.
And the NBA took note of that outlet pass from Withy, too. Looking down the floor right away with his size. Southwell behind a screen by Gibson. Pulls him back to within 2.
He's playing small forward, but power forward, but he's really a small forward.
Now Withy down low. Gibson on him. Running through the paint. He traveled.
Watch this, Brent. Watch Withy get his head up quickly on that rebound. Now he knows that Relaford likes to leak out. Look where he is, right there. He sees it. Now he's going to let it go. And Relaford really adept at running that left lane.
Best two-handed outlet I ever saw, and you saw it too. Washington Bullets.
Wes Unseld.
No doubt about it.
Kevin Love, not that far behind.
Mercy.
But I'm Wes Unseld, one of a kind. Out of Louisville.
Southwell gives it back down, but Gruder's open. And a great rejection underneath. Traylor who checked in. Loose ball, scramble for it. Wildcat basketball. Kansas bench thought that they should have it.
Watch Jamari Traylor, Brent. They've been looking for this all season. Bill Self's giving him increased minutes. Played well yesterday. That's a big stop. That's almost a great mental play for that Jayhawk defense.
Now it's going to go over quickly here on this block.
Oh, this is great timing right here by the youngster from Chicago. You love that Magruder went right to the rim and Jamari Traylor met him up there. Hey, how about the way Bill Self over the course of the season has nurtured that bench?
I believe Weber's going to have to start working on the officials now. There are 5 team fouls on the Wildcats and none on the Jayhawks. Yeah, Weber was working on to start with. Now Magruder's going to come down and finish strong at the rim. Ties it at 8. Ellis coming down, has it knocked away. Here they come again with Rodriguez. Johnson and Thorpe are back. Rodriguez will pull up a transition shot. Ellis rebounds for the Jayhawks. One and done now.
It's a quick 3. I don't really mind that. You want Angel Rodriguez going, getting going. He's really getting to understand the flow of a game for a point guard.
Back to Thorpe. Thorpe getting a lot more minutes as the season progresses at the point for the Jayhawks. Now Traylor will step out. Southwell rebounds the miss.
They won't mind him shooting that. He's a guy that needs to play 3 feet in.
Knocked it down. There's Irving doing just what you said he could do. And there's contact. Bodies on the floor. Timeout. So this is a media break at the 11:44 mark. Passion in Kansas City. Welcome to the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. Kansas and Kansas State with the Wildcats leading 11-8. And I want to remind you, this is just the start of a Super Saturday of championships on ESPN. Listen up as to what next. They'll bring down the curtain on the Big East as we know it. You couldn't ask for a better matchup. Syracuse and Louisville. That's presented by American Eagle Outfitters. Then at 11, Oregon will take on UCLA, and the Ducks are favored in a Pac-12 championship. UCLA will be a little bit shorthanded, unfortunately, after losing Adams, and it's all part of championship week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yep, Jordan Adams.
So we have a very special couple here today. They were married earlier today, and one of their gifts those prime seats. Eric and Faith, congratulations. Big Jayhawk fans seated a few rows up above the Jayhawk bench.
I don't know. That's a purple tie, Frank. That looks purple to me. Oh, it's got little Jayhawks on that tie. Okay.
I'm letting you get yourself out of that one. Okay.
We don't want a mixed marriage here, okay? I think they're both Jayhawk fans.
All right. Now, Holly Rowe, Bill Self unhappy with his team so far?
Yeah, he said, boy, are we playing dumb. Joe Dooley, the assistant coach, popped in and said, guys, we have 6 assists and 7 shots. We've got to be smarter. He also challenged Ben McLemore to get up and defend people a little bit better. He says he's giving people too many space.
Well, Kevin Young will make him happy with that. It's now 5 points for Kevin.
How about this, Brent? McLemore has not taken a shot yet.
Now, of course, it was 6 turnovers that he's concerned about over there. And he really wants to get McLemore started because he hasn't pulled the trigger yet. And he's their leading scorer.
And that's why they came out of that timeout trying to run the lob play, but Magruder smelt it out.
This is Magruder, cut off. Relaford, outstanding defensive player. The shot clock was running down, and that great defense forced that desperation 3 that time. But we got 2 teams that know how to handle themselves defensively. Both are headed on in to March Madness next week, and guess what? Both could be right back here in their first action later this week, because yes, this is where one of the sub-regionals will be played, and you could have different pods. Doesn't mean they're going to be in the same region, but don't be surprised if Kansas and Kansas State are right back here. We've got over 19,000 on hand, and I'm sure the NCAA is paying attention to the crowds that we've had for the Big 12 championship. Probably better than anybody in the country. We've got 19,000 plus almost every day here. It's been remarkable. And Young on the turnaround. Tap back Withy. No, couldn't get a hand on it.
Withy's done a good job passing out of that double teams, and Young has been finishing. Missed it there, however.
Nino Williams is off the Wildcat bench. Remember, Spradling picked up 2 early fouls. Kevin Young gambles on him, couldn't get to it. Magruder has been very active. Now Spradling back on the floor, even though he has the 2, along with Williams. Irving pulls it up again. Misses this time. Jayhawks with an easy rebound. Here's Withy in low. Couldn't hit the shot. Gibson knocks it back, but right into the hands of McLemore. His first shot not there. Magruder rebounds it.
Kansas State fortunate that time. That save went right to McLemore.
Pull up by Magruder. Rattles out into Withy's hands.
I do like his aggressiveness, Brent.
Went after the ball that time. Relaford regained control. This is a tough every possession game. This is the kind of game, even though it's going to be low scoring, that you love to watch. Great effort out here.
Absolutely.
Johnson drains a 3 ball for the Jayhawks, and they lead at 13-11.
Well, both teams are active defensively, but both teams also moving the ball very well. Problem with motion offense, sometimes it ends up in the hands late in the clock of a guy that you don't necessarily want shooting it.
Gibson didn't have good hands on that pass. Turned it over, and that's 5 turnovers on the Wildcats. Johnson and Magruder read it perfectly. Looking for Relaford, and Magruder said, you're coming here, and I'm going to pick your pocket, and he did just that.
Take a look at Magruder. He's tired right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he's coming out. Motion offense takes a lot out of you because you're constantly moving. Then you have to guard Relaford on the other end.
Yeah, there are 3 substitutes up. Spradling misfires. Withy with a rebound again. Johnson turns it over again. Throws it into press row.
And he was looking for the seam route, but he overthrew the receiver. Watch Roddy Magruder. He's right here at the logo. He sees it. He's going to shoot the gap on the move. And there he's reading perfectly that passing route.
They're going to leave Magruder on the floor. Now, 3 substitutes, and they're going to camp him in the corner here.
That's right. Now, don't be surprised if he doesn't move all that much. He'll take possessions off to rest on offense. And they'll play 4-on-4 sometimes without him for a couple possessions.
Enriquez back on the floor. Southwell, daylight comes in, and offense. Jayhawk basketball. So the fouls continue to mount on Kansas State. It is a big story. It is 6-0 in the foul category. Weber is going to start working the refs. He has to.
Rhys Davis with you. Let's get you up to date on what happened in the SWAC championship. Winding down the time, Southern, the Jaguars, holding on to a 1-point lead, had to take a shot. And now Jordan DeMunich, slipped. It's like those nightmares you have when you just see it slipping away, and it does. And the Jaguars of Southern are going into the dance. Ohio State goes to the championship game in the Big Ten. They beat Michigan State. They'll get Wisconsin next. And in the Mountain West, UNLV and New Mexico vying for the title.
A huge foul discrepancy, and as you were going away to that commercial, Coach went right after Joe DeRosa. Now, Fran, as a coach, what do you do in this situation? What do you say to the referees?
Well, you got to be respectful in a game like this, and these are three of the best officials in the league. I would say, hey, Joe, do I have to go crazy and lose my temper like the other guy did yesterday? Because you remember what Bill Self did. He got that technical foul. So you want to make a point to the official without getting yourself in trouble with them, but I think you got to put it in their mind. If you want, I'll throw a temper tantrum too right now on national TV, but I'd rather you guys help us a little bit. And that, by the way, that last call we watched the replay, I thought it was a block.
Rodriguez hits Spradling. 7 minutes to go here in a low-scoring, tough defensive battle for the Big 12 championship. The kind of game you're going to get in the NCAA tournament. Half court. Punch it out. Rodriguez off iron, tracked down Rutherford.
Remember last night how good Kansas State was late in shot clock. So far, Kansas's defense has made them play the entire clock with good success.
McLemore inside to Young, who whips back to the three. Tharp, yes.
Not a great shooter, but when his feet are set, he's much improved from his freshman year.
Five-point lead. Jayhawks would like to get on that free throw line, too. Remember, 6 fouls against the Wildcats here already. Step back Rodriguez. Can't answer with a three, but Enriquez against Withy with the rebound. And there is the first foul against the Jayhawks in this game, and it's against Withy. And a huge roar from the Wildcat fans because they can count, too.
They have that stat all over this arena. Now remember, Enriquez not a great foul shooter.
They're checking to make sure that it was on Withy. Now, that is it Southwell? What?
Well, they're saying that the foul is on Tharp right now.
Yeah, excuse me, I had the wrong one.
Yeah.
When the one finger was up, obviously, yeah, against Kansas would be on Tharp, and so Enriquez, just like you said. Now Magruder, who did take a break, comes in. Ellis also reports in, and Eliza Johnson.
They take a look now. Okay, got it. Joe DeRosa right there. Tharp made the first contact. Yeah.
It's on Tharp.
Because Withy was looking around like I wasn't even near him.
Yeah, coach wanted it obviously on the center, trying to get him into foul trouble.
Watch his passing now. Withy's been very good.
They feed Withy in low, muscles into that paint. Nice looking hook shot.
No double team that time, so he had room to operate.
Kansas State's last field goal at the 11:49 mark. This is a long drought against a tough Jayhawk defense, and Tharp touched it last.
We said this all year about Kansas State. If you can slow down Rodney Magruder, Makes it very difficult for K-State to score because everybody plays through Magruder's offense.
Look at different demeanor in this first half of Coach Self over there.
His players said after the game they thought it was a calculated technical foul yesterday that he got in the first half.
Fade away, Magruder, no. Rebound, Elijah Johnson. Down with the lay-in. Follows Ellis, the freshman. Timeout called by Weber. Early trouble for the Wildcats. This is why the young man, Fran, has such a great upside. He can run the floor. Watch number 34. Well, here's the latest from ESPN's 30 for 30 series. Sunday at 9 on ESPN. Survive and Advance. 1983, the story of the late Jim Valvano and North Carolina State and that remarkable run, which culminated with a championship game victory over Houston and Albuquerque, New Mexico in the pit.
And one of the protagonists in that game, Derek Wittenberg, a large part of the production of this movie. Should be a great show.
Kansas on a 12-1 run over the last 625. No field goals for Kansas State. Enriquez backs in. Stays with it. Comes back again. And the foul is called against the Jayhawks.
That's a good effort by Kansas State. It's obvious out of the timeout they were trying to go inside at Withey.
Lack of scoring hurting Kansas State.
Both of these teams, Brent, have been excellent defensively all season long. Kansas State plays as well physically without fouling on the defensive end as any team I've seen all year. Of course, Withey anchors a very good Kansas defense at the rim.
Relaford and Tharp have the 2 fouls. And for Kansas State, both Spradling and Southwell saddled with 2 apiece. See Spradling watching. Boy, nothing going in.
Oh, and this is one of those games where if you think Southwell and Spradling can help you offensively, I don't think you worry about the 2 fouls.
This is a negative when you get into March Madness. You've got to be able to score, as you know, Frank.
That's why we were so impressed with Iowa State this weekend.
Absolutely. They'll be one of at least 5, according to Lenardi, who will make it from the Big 12.
If they rain threes, Iowa State, against teams, they could be dangerous.
McLemore, who's been very quiet, checks back in. He 0 for 1 from the field. Relaford is 2 of 3. And he is out there. Ellis stays on the floor. Elijah Johnson missed the 3, and Magruder will let it go out of bounds. To be K-State basketball. 4:16 to go here in the first half. It's 20-13. So even though they're struggling offensively, they are staying within striking distance because of their defense.
I'll tell you, the guy that's done a great job defensively has been Travis Relaford. All defensive team, they switch easily. See now, Elijah Johnson saw the miss the screen and switched.
Irving, great fake, moves over to the left, and Withey rebounds the miss. It just won't fall for the Wildcats. Ellis coming down the baseline, forced back outside. That's DJ Johnson, the freshman, who's checked in. Withey gets inside Enriquez, and as he swung around, traveling.
I'm Reese Davis. Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report is coming up, and the Hoosiers, Your Honor, they're being badgered again. A dozen times in a row now, Wisconsin has gotten Indiana. What's the fallout for the Hoosiers in terms of their seeding? And did Ole Miss shoot its way off the bubble by taking Vanderbilt down and moving into the title game of the SEC tournament?
(20 to 13), Jayhawks lead the Wildcats, who have gone ice cold, shooting only 21% from the field, Fran.
Now watch the defense now. Watch Matt McLemore. He's going to force Magruder to go away, not curl into the lane. Now, because Kansas very experienced, watch the switch by Relaford. Equal-sized guys, McLemore and Relaford. They can both guard Magruder, forcing a tough shot. And then, obviously, anytime Magruder gets free going to the rim, Withy's there to challenge. And this particular shot led to an easy basket in the open court.
Magruder only 2 of 7 here in the first half. Rodriguez is 0 of 4. He's missed 3 from long range.
This is fun. This is the game within the game. Relaford's not even worried about the ball.
Underneath, tap back, and Withy was out of bounds. So it'll go back to the Wildcats.
There's 2 games going on, Brent. There's 4-on-4, and then there's Relaford and Magruder.
Withy reaches up to rebound the ball, and foul is going to be called on him.
They pished off first. Magruder had a point-blank shot he missed.
That's the first on Jeff Withy.
Now take a look.
Watch and see if he pushes underneath here against Williams. Oh, yeah, with right hand.
That wasn't even subtle.
Big fella, get out of here.
Yeah. He's easy to spot out there. I don't know if he realizes that. No place to hide when you're 7 feet tall.
Kansas State 0 for its last 11 now.
Kansas taking away all curl cuts into the lane by going over the top of the screens.
Tremendous Jayhawk defense here. 6 on the shot. Blocked away, stolen, loose ball, picked up, and Elijah Johnson brings it down for Kansas.
That turnover was because of the 6'10" wingspan of Relaford.
Looking at a Jayhawk team that could wind up with a #1 seed if they can win the Big 12 championship again here. Kevin Young will give it to Withy. This is going to be a tough out in the next 3 weeks, my friend. This is a heck of a Kansas Jayhawk team.
Absolutely, very versatile. When Young went baseline, Withy reacted in a circle away from him, and that got him open at the rim.
I mean, they are smothering the Wildcats. They haven't had a field goal since the 11:49 mark here of the first half. Relaford all over Magruder.
Well, everything goes through Magruder. If you cut the head of the snake off, you know what happens.
Rodriguez rattles in the 3, and that ends the drought at the 1:23 mark.
Now, this reminds me of Michigan-Wisconsin yesterday. Wisconsin was 4 for 26 or 27 in the first half, but that hung around.
Over the top, Kevin Young couldn't quite finish, but he gets it back. And whistling up an air ball was Elijah Johnson, but Withy. McLemore off the iron. Well, the Wildcats trying to put together back-to-back field. A loose ball out of bounds. Jayhawk ball. Way back in November, Kansas State with only 24 points against Michigan at the half, and looks like they're going to snap that here against the Jayhawks, and they're smothering indeed. We are back with Less than a minute to play here in the first half. Kansas and Kansas State for the Big 12 championship.
Take a look at this, Brent. Young and Withy really know how to operate together. Anytime a post player makes a move either to the baseline or the middle, his partner should go opposite. So Young goes one way, Withy goes the other to create space. Young finds him at the rim. That's by design. They know how to work off each other in the post. We've seen Withy become a very good passer this year, as well as Young.
You know what's interesting is that McLemore is 0 for 2. Hasn't scored here for the Jayhawks. He gets across the timeline, and here's Elijah Johnson. So even though they're playing very good defensively, they are not putting the Wildcats away offensively.
That's the story of McLemore's season.
Now you'll take the three. Way short, but Kevin Young, right man, right spot.
How good is he? You always love to have the one guy that you don't have to run any plays for, and he doesn't care if you don't run any plays for him. He makes effort plays.
Last shot time. Magruder. (24-16). The Wildcats with their lowest half of scoring for the season here in the championship game. They shot only 22%. Kansas State was 6 of 27. Let's go to Holly Rowe now with Bill Self.
Well, Coach, your defense has been very terrific in this game. What have you been so effective doing to limit their shooters?
Well, we've done a good job on our ball screen defense, and Travis has done a great job on Magruder so far. But, you know, he's a second-half player, too. But they missed some shots, but we guard them pretty well. Our problem is we're just not taking care of the pressure, and we're turning the ball over too much.
You haven't had Ben McLemore really go off yet in this game. What does he have to do to insert himself a little bit better?
Well, he's got a couple of good looks, and he's just, you know, he's probably forcing it a little bit, and he just needs to relax. And he's a great shooter. He just needs to relax and see one go down.
All right, thanks, Coach.
And the Jayhawks have turned it over 9 times here in the first half. So right now, let's send it to Reese Davis, Seth Greenberg, Jay Williams in the studio for our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Welcome back to the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. It's all part of Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Kansas State and Kansas in a low-scoring championship game. 40 points in the first half. And instead of the hot zone, Fran, let's take a look at the cold zone for Kansas State.
A lot of boo out there, Brent, but keep in mind, Kansas, the #1 field goal defensive team in the country, and they have a guy guarding Kansas State's best scorer, who's maybe one of the best perimeter defenders in the country, in Travis Relaford.
So they went 10 minutes and 21 seconds without a field goal. That's how cold they were in the first half. Now, can they turn things around against this defense?
Well, they're going to have to. And what the bad part is, they have to move the ball and find Magruder. But in a motion offense, you really never know who's going to get it in that offense. But on the offensive end for Kansas, you love the way the two big guys are moving in sync. Now, the hustle, the block shots, those are givens from Young and Withy. Watch how well they work together. When Withy goes middle, Young goes baseline. Easy basket. Okay, now, when Young's got it, when he goes baseline, Withy goes middle. All by design. Very much in sync tonight.
And Holly, what did Coach Weber have to say about the Wildcats?
Well, he said, you know, obviously they're frustrated offensively, but he said Kansas is a very good defensive team, but we've got to try to penetrate and kick, try to open things up for ourselves a little bit more. He said also we've got to attack the hoop, and with tongue-in-cheek, he said maybe get some fouls called.
3 team fouls for Kansas in the first half, Brent.
Withy in the paint, and Spradley moving on Relaford. So Spradley picks up number 3 here in the opening minute of the second half.
Well, anytime there's a ball screen, you got to force the man to the screen. He got caught letting Relaford get to the baseline.
McLemore up firing. Can't hit a field goal. Spradling with the defensive rebound. Now the key for the Wildcats, make this half-court passing offense work.
See, right now there's no one inside offensively that can challenge Withey, and they're keeping Magruder from cutting into the lane. Relaford's taking a break. McLemore is guarding Magruder.
6 on the shot. Rodriguez will attack, comes inside. Couldn't finish against Withey. And Johnson right back at the other end for the Jayhawks. And foul is going to be called underneath. Jayhawks are on the free throw line. So Magruder picks up his second. And again, early fouls against the Wildcats. And in each instance looked like good call.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, Bruce Weber may not think so, but I think they've been pretty good. I mean, you only can call what you see, and this is a good crew.
Kevin Young is eaten up by Henriquez. Rutherford misfires and Young's activity, but it was Spradling who stepped in. And it will be K-State basketball. Weber didn't get the whistle that time either. He thought Spradling was fouled.
Well, I thought Spradling was out of control in that situation. Let's take a look now. He's trying to get into traffic right there, and there's really nowhere to go. There's 3 white jerseys. So Kansas State all year long has not had a post presence, really.
And Rodriguez nails tough 3 from the corner. Gives them a big boost here to make it 24-19.
He's a guy that scored against Kansas in the first 2 meetings. He's averaged about 15.5. Oh, good steal.
Steal, here comes Southwell. Lays it in. 5 quick points for the Wildcats. Back to within 3.
Think about it, Brent. They were within striking distance, and they were so inept in the first half. Now they got a couple easy ones.
Jayhawks need McLemore to get going. Withey is going to be fouled by Henriquez. Withey's going to come to the free throw line. Henriquez picked up his first foul.
Bill Self, at the start of a game, start of a second half, there's 2 things you can count on. Either they're going to go inside to Withey, or they're going to try to get the freshman McLemore going. McLemore's not gotten it going, so it's best now to play inside out.
Well, March is certainly tournament time, so set up the ESPN Tournament Challenge Bracket Pool today. Go to ESPN.com/bracket. And, of course, tomorrow, we'll get them all filled out, and we'll see where everybody's headed and let the madness begin. And, of course, Joe Lenardi, Joey Buckets, as we call him affectionately, said that if Kansas wins this, we're going to wind up with a 1 seed. Remember, Duke beaten early in the ACC tournament. Henriquez in low. Right hand up over Withey.
Pretty move by Jordan Henriquez. No challenge by Withey.
Clark is now on the point for the Jayhawks. Withey, and Henriquez with his second and 1. Up on Withey's back. And so that's going to bring a substitution here early. I believe Thomas Gibson going to check in for the Wildcats.
And Kevin Young got a running start to the rim here, but watch Withey and Henriquez challenge. And Withey got away with another push. That's interesting.
Quick hands.
Yeah, quick hands, yep. Now listen, there's always hand-to-hand combat in there both ways every night. But that one was a bounce that went Kansas's way that time.
Deep to Magruder. Tap by Gibson, who's coming off the bench. A beautiful follow that time.
Let's see if Bill Self recognizes that in the first 2 meetings, Gibson did not have any answers inside for Withey. Big size advantage.
Young. Nice turnaround.
And you say, why can Young do that? Well, he's got a small forward and Southwell on him, and he buried him deep.
Spradling catch and shoot the 3 off front of the iron, but a fine offensive rebound by Magruder, who puts it back into Spradling's hands. into Kevin Young's arms, who read that pass perfectly.
Well, anytime Spradling drives baseline, that's where he's looking, and Young was right on the spot.
Relaford into Rodriguez's hands. Southwell. Spradling taps it back, and there's a whistle. We're off the backboard, so it'll go to Kansas. Off the top.
I think Kansas State's come out with some renewed energy. That jump shot by Rodriguez got them going. And Brent, if there's a Achilles heel for Kansas, is at times this year they have not been as efficient as many of the Bill Self teams in the last decade.
Tharp, point guard. McLemore. Southwell switched on him. Help defense was outstanding. Now it's Relaford's turn. He gets it into Withey's hands, and from behind, Magruder. That's his third. A 5-point Jayhawk lead. .36 left in regulation, and the Jayhawks have a 5-point lead thanks to their defense, Frank.
Well, it starts with Travis Relaford. We've been highlighting him all night. Just keep your eye on how he shadows. He's going to shadow Rodney Magruder. Excuse me. He's right underneath the basket now, right there. And now keep your eye on him. He's just going to work through screens. He's going to get help on the back screen. And then watch Young. He sees the ball being driven baseline. He knows Spradling is going to the corner because Spradling is not going to shoot the ball over Withey. So Young can release and chase down that pass to the corner. That's called baseline drive, baseline drift. Smelled it out perfectly.
Jeff Withey now has 4 of 6 from the free throw line. 8 points for the game, 22 minutes played.
I got to tell you, Brent, if you're Kansas State, you got to feel really good only being down 6 points. Now the problem is you haven't solved this Kansas defense yet.
Especially Magruder, who's 2 of 10. You focused on him at the top, though, and you pointed out how he struggled in the regular season. Southwell up over the top. Jayhawk ball.
Well, look at their team right now. You got athleticism, quickness, and the size of Withey inside.
Relaford picks his dribble up. Hit a pass to McLemore, and Withey, an easy finish.
And McLemore made that pass look easy, too. He threw that ball while he was airborne.
Now Magruder flashes and knocks down a 3 ball. That could be huge. 33-28. Magruder's first 3-point hoop of the game. McLemore has to kick it back outside around the horn. Tharp's 3. Yes.
A lot of touches. Good ball movement. McLemore went baseline. Nothing there. Swung it quickly.
Rodriguez drives on Withey, muscles into him. Withey stays right with it. Comes up with it defensively. Tharp with a bounce pass. It's a beauty to Relaford. So Tharp hits a 3, comes down with a gorgeous, gorgeous bounce pass. And that's your point guard of the future for the Jayhawks.
This guy averaged .9 last year as a freshman. Energy, becoming a playmaker.
Irving back with a 3, not there, into Tharp's hands. Now a rebound from the young man. Now he's trying to drive through. He hits Withey again, stripped, and Withey was fouled.
Watch the speed in Nadir Tharp, Brent. We've seen it all year long. He creates easy baskets with his speed. Take a look at this bounce pass through traffic, right on the money to Relaford. And Relaford does a terrific job. We've seen him tonight get out early.
And then major problem brewing now for Kansas State. Magruder has 3 fouls. Spradling has 3 fouls. And the early foul trouble that Kansas State got into is now starting to really work against them.
Well, it's a major problem, but scoring is even a bigger problem.
Team fouls on Kansas State, none on Kansas. That's a broken record.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, Brent, I think these guys have done a good job. I really do. And you can quibble with a couple calls, but you call a foul if you see a foul, and you got 3 very good officials. I'm not going to make a big deal of it. I'll hear about it on Twitter from Kansas State fans.
I was about to say, leaving that up to me, eh?
Oh, yeah, I'll hear about that. But, you know, I think they've been generally very, very good.
Rodriguez and Gibson flushes.
That's what they haven't got very much today, that dribble penetration.
Well, this could be a key time for Kansas State. Withey taking a break right now at the 12:55 mark. They've got to get this down to a manageable single-digit margin. Kansas turns it over. Southwell driving through, no Withey, and he's on the free throw line.
Well, that's a great point, Brent, because Southwell knew he could get to the rim on Ellis. He made a smart play.
That's the first team foul against the Jayhawks.
I think overall Kansas State's defense has been very good as well. They just had trouble on this end.
Weber lobbying, pointing out that they only had 3 team fouls against them in the first half. You could read his lips over here, and now they've only got 1. Back with the officials. Championship week continues. This is presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, the ACC Championship, Miami and North Carolina, 1 p.m. on ESPN. And over on ABC at the same time, the SEC Championship, and that'll be Florida against Ole Miss. Joe Lunardi said that Ole Miss is safely in to the NCAA tournament. It'll all become known late tomorrow afternoon. The brackets will be out shortly after that.
I like Miami. I love Shane Larkin, and today Durant Scott went nuts offensively.
Kevin Young saved it. Tharp rimmed in and out. Rebound by Southwell.
That's what Southwell can do. Nice pass.
And Gibson defended by Johnson. And beautifully defended. Ball is going to go over to the Jayhawks.
Well, great outlet pass by Southwell right here. Watch Gibson go up now.
And it was off him. There was no question. That was an outstanding call. Johnson got all ball. The Wildcat crowd is growing restless. Tharp fires the long ball. That's his second 3. Timeout. Wildcats in deep trouble. 19,256 on hand. Jayhawks up by 12 as we take a look at Kansas' competitive edge to the game, brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. As you take a look at the foul discrepancy, I want to go back on Fran Fraschiller's main point. He thinks that for the most part, all these calls have been good ones.
We've watched them on the replay sometimes during the break, Brent. Now listen, if I were Bruce Weber, I would be howling, okay? But, you know, I'm not. And I'm watching these guys thinking, you know, for the most part, Thomas Gibson got a shot blocked and then continued knocking the ball out of bounds.
Holly Rowe, what was the Kansas State huddle like?
Well, Bruce Weber got emotional with his guys. It's the most emotional I've seen him, and he was yelling, guys, we've got to keep our poise. Who cares if the refs like us? Who cares if we're getting fouls called? We have to execute. We've made plays all year long. We've made plays against these guys. Let's go out and compete, quit worrying about the refs.
Rodriguez off the front of the iron and into Johnson's hands, coming down through the middle. A beautiful drive by Elijah Johnson.
I think it's been more about Kansas's defense and then opportunity to get out and run and create baskets like that. Both teams have played good defense. Kansas State's just struggling to score.
Now Magruder comes on the inside. Withy back on the floor. Nice field goal by number 22. He's got 9 points for the Wildcats here. Relaford due to check back in at the next opportunity for Kansas. Ellis.
Boy, is he getting better and better. Very aggressive, knows what to do with the ball. Talked to some fans today. They said this is how he played in high school.
Rodriguez rattles in another three, and I believe, yes, that's his third tray of the game now.
Well, what I like about Rodriguez, he's realizing that if Magruder's being shadowed the way he has been, that he's going to have to get more aggressive and score on his own.
It's 11, and Ellis puts it down on the deck, misfires. Gibson rebounds. And here comes Rodriguez trying to lead him back. Irving, long ball. Not this time. Southwell got in a little bit too far. And Tharp comes back down on the inside. Hits Ellis, the trailer. Corner man. And rattled in beautifully. His first field goal of the game. And that, of course, has been McLemore.
Rodriguez gambled on the steal, missed it, and that created the open opportunity for McLemore.
Magruder battling at the offensive end for the Wildcats now.
That's his wheelhouse right there, Brent. 15 to 10 feet right in that high paint area.
Johnson. McLemore looking to go again. Tharp will feed Ellis. Get it back. Now Withy backing down on Gibson, comes up over the top, and Gibson back for the rebound. Rodriguez, and a foul is going to be called. Rodriguez will be coming to the free throw line.
Well, this lead has stretched out, Brent, because of guys like Ellis and McLemore. Take a look at this move by the freshman from Wichita. Sweet, uses the glass, and then the kick. McLemore, smooth stroke. Kansas by 12.
At Cons, we love to say yes. Yes to low monthly payments you can afford. Yes, even if you've been turned down other places. Yes to helping you get all the things your family wants and deserves. Yes Money can make it happen. You can apply for your Yes Money right now online at cons.com. Then get ready to start saying yes. Yes to a new TV. Yes to new appliances. Yes to new furniture. At Cons, we say yes so you can too.
NBA Sunday Showcase continues Sunday on ABC at 3:30. It's the Knicks versus the Clippers. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern with the NBA countdown. Well, the Ringo Starr of college drummers is in Kansas. The young man's name is Chris Carter. And at halftime, he had a chance to win a competition and earn gas from Phillips 66 for the year, and he won it. He beat that K-State band member. So congratulations to Chris Carter.
Hold it, Brent. That's an NCAA violation. You can't accept free gas for a year.
He's a drummer, not a player.
Oh, I don't know.
He's a drummer.
Gotta check that.
Now Rodriguez a little bit short on that free throw line. Can't be leaving points on the line here. Frank down by 12. 9:04 to go. This is the best looking offensive spurt that we've seen with Kansas State. Magruder flashing into the paint a couple times. Rodriguez nailing a three. Getting to the free throw line.
Sometimes you've got a motion offense will take all 35 seconds, so you got to break it off and make some individual plays. And Rodriguez, Magruder, really the two guys can do that. Rodriguez taking a break right now. Little three-quarter court 2-2-1 pressure.
Spradling back off that bench with those 3 fouls, chasing Relaford down. And with this victory, of course, Kansas very much in that conversation for a #1 seed. Relaford gets on the inside, battle for the rebound. Spradling comes out dribbling. He's got Magruder ahead of him. Inside, Elijah Johnson for the field goal. Now back to within 9, and they've got to play defense quickly.
Magruder's so good getting to the rim. That's his game.
Kevin Young is up for Bill Self. They feed with the low block. Enriquez back in on him. Inside, though, to Ellis. And the freshman again doing a job. 2 and 1 on the foul.
Let me tell you what he did. He made Shane Southwell disappear. Watch him now. See, when Tharp throws that ball in there, you don't see Southwell because he buried Southwell behind him.
Now we've got 3 Wildcats with 3 fouls. Southwell joins Magruder and Spradling with 3 apiece. There have been only 5 team fouls called in this game on the Jayhawks. But as you pointed out, Kansas State is a very, very physical team.
Well, they are, Brent. They've been that way all year. I've seen them many times where they're old-fashioned Big Ten, Gene Katie, man-to-man defense. And that's why they've won 26 games. Because they are good defensively, but they are physical at times.
Southwell, pull up on the money.
Now, if you're Kansas State, you have time, but you must get a couple stops, and a couple easy baskets wouldn't hurt either. But it starts on this end.
Withey is taking his second-half break right now. And Ellis, he's got more room to maneuver without Withey on the floor. Little jump hook is good, and Ellis is taking over again offensively.
This is why he was a high school All-American. Some people in Lawrence were disappointed with the first part of his season.
Maturing for the Jayhawks at the right time of the year. Irving. And into Ellis's hands. He simply hands it off. He's 4 of 5 in this game, 10 of 12 in the last game, and up and in.
Kansas so good at knowing when to push the pace. They don't have anything. They're excellent in the half court as well.
The 3 off the iron rattles in.
Well, he sized it up nicely. Young backed off a little bit. Magruder knew what to do. Well, Brent, they're starting to score Kansas State. Now they've got to get some stops.
Outside Ellis. Knock it down. The 3 ball. What a remarkable run. 10 of 12 against Iowa State. And now 5 of 6 here today. An incredible shooting performance by the young man off the bench. Magruder trying to come right back, and he's going to be fouled by Ellis, I believe. Yes. Or is that, let me check that. Relaford. The veteran with the youngster. Coaching him up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Phillips 66. Experts in gas since 1927. And in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
I'm Reese Davis. The Mountain West Championship game. Both of these teams are going to be in the NCAA tournament, and they can be dangerous. Kendall Williams, New Mexico against UNLV. Williams, the 46-point performance against Colorado State might be the best individual performance of the year. That game's tied up at 44 in the second half. MAC championship game on ESPN2, or you can see it on Watch ESPN. The Zips of Akron lost their point guard to the arrest recently at Abreu. It's 38-33 the score in that one. Rick Pitino trying to win his 3rd Big East championship. Try to win it back-to-back against his old buddy Jim Boeheim. Tip-off less than an hour away from the Garden.
And, of course, tomorrow, bracketology comes to ESPN. The coverage starts at 3, then at 6. SportsCenter will provide wall-to-wall coverage as the brackets are announced, and at 7 the experts will break it down with 2 hours of bracketology. So Magruder at the free throw line misses the first one here at the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship.
So let me ask you, is Arlene going to get the Wall Street Journal Monday and get the brackets out? I heard she beat you last year. Or did you beat her?
I won with the Wildcats lap. But I was sweating it out. I didn't want to lose to Mama in the bracket pool. Here's Rutherford out on top now.
And watch how good Kansas is at running clock. They usually get the shot they want.
McLemore. Johnson floats it. 62-46.
First game in Manhattan was close. Second game in Lawrence was a blowout. This game has been close at times. Kansas State not scoring enough.
Magruder attacks, and Withy collided with him underneath the basket. Picked up the personal foul.
He just threw that ball through the legs of sprattling Elijah Johnson. Elijah Johnson's got a flair for the moment because he played his best basketball at the same time last year.
Got it from Las Vegas.
That's right. That's right.
Hometown for the young man. But what we can say about Perry Ellis is off of Bill Self's bench. You take a look at what he's done. Semis off the bench with 23, 10 of 12. That's his career high. Tonight he's got a dozen. Now, Holly Rowe, he's a remarkable story for the Jayhawks, isn't he?
Well, he is. You know, clear back in December, Coach Self was getting on him, telling him he wasn't aggressive enough. I remember being at a practice where when he wasn't aggressive, they'd have to make him go run on the treadmill. And that's continued all season. They've been beating him up, and finally he's come alive. He told me this transition to college has been much more mentally difficult than I ever thought it would be. And guys, this is a kid that was valedictorian who got a 3.5 his first semester at Kansas.
And Withy finishing and coming back to the free throw line.
Watch the teamwork, Brent. We've talked about this all night. Young goes baseline, Withy goes to the rim. Kansas State hasn't had an answer for that. That's the versatility of a Kevin Young.
And you do. Kansas rode his shot blocking all the way to the championship game last year. And folks, he's back again.
That's right. 31 blocks last year, set an NCAA tournament record. By the way, he really had 32 because they missed one in St. Louis against NC State.
Four and a half minutes. Jayhawks closing in on a possible #1 seed when it's announced tomorrow. We all know what that means in the first game. No 16 has ever beaten a 1. Enriquez tries to finish and finally does the second time.
Nice drop off by Martavius Irving. Good finish by Enriquez on the tip. Now, we haven't talked about it much, Brent, but Angel Rodriguez, excellent defender.
McLemore off the iron. And he got the rebound. So a timeout has been called after the traveling whistle.
And those are my final 4 picks. Now over to you, Charles.
Sir Charles' single miles card left him blacked out. He's coming to us from home.
That's gotta be traveling.
Now, instead of covering the final 4, he's stuck covering 4th graders.
Rick. Bobby is 1 for 36. Mikey, he keeps taking these low percentage shots. And Julio, I don't know what Julio's doing.
Next time, get the Capital One Venture card and fly any airline anytime. What's in your wallet?
Can you get me Mr. Baldwin's autograph?
Get lost, kid.
When you talk about blue bloods in college basketball, the Kansas Jayhawks are certainly one of them. Through the years, no one in this part of the country has done a better job of winning big games than the Kansas Jayhawks, and they're at it again. Stalking still another Final Four. That was the Kansas winning formula, brought to you by Clearman Scalp Therapy. It's unbelievable, isn't it, Frank?
Sure is. And how about Bill Self personally? Last 15 years, he's got 13 conference titles to his record.
Last 9, he has either won outright or shared this one with Kansas State. And guess what? He's closing in on his 3rd consecutive win this season over the Wildcats. Beat them in Manhattan, in Lawrence, and now on a neutral court here in Kansas City. Congratulations to all the basketball fans in the Big 12 too. Here, Rutherford whistle for the foul on Magruder, by the way. But the crowds here have just been absolutely remarkable. And Fran, I know this is our last game on television, and as time winds down, there's a lot of folks on this Big 12 crew and from the conference itself. The commissioner, Bob Bowlesby, John Underwood, Tim Allen, Rob Corella. They have all been so helpful throughout this season of Big Monday performances wherever we have gone. And of course, our television crew, Aaron Stoikoff, our producer, and Mike, the Red Baron Roy, is our director.
Only guy with a fat head in the ESPN in the production crew. That's his own fat head.
And gosh, all our great cameramen, video people, tape operators in there. Heather Wilson's been our AD. Slider stats, Perry Mann, Mark Memento helping us out. Audio, how about George Ryan and Dan Wise, the job they've done throughout this. It's just been great.
Fun being with you as well.
Well, and, me too.
Now, I gained about 9 pounds this year with you, because you know every place to eat in the Big 12. Varsity Donuts in Manhattan.
Rodriguez. Here's Gibson on the inside and finishing.
Now you got to get some stops. You got to create some turnovers if you can. Kansas very good usually at using the clock in these situations.
Withy. Young, wave it off. That's offensive foul.
Bill Self won't mind that. He'll love the effort by Kevin Young. He spent his first 2 years at Loyola Marymount, was not heavily recruited. In fact, 2 or 3 Division I offers coming out of high school. A lot of people didn't think he could play here, Brent, but what a season he's had as a senior.
Give these Jayhawks a long, long look as you start to push those teams through in the bracket to Atlanta, folks. This is a very good basketball team. Gibson. He threw Elijah halfway back to Las Vegas. He does look like a defensive lineman, doesn't he?
I'll tell you what, wasn't easy for Kansas State to go 14-4 in conference play. They've had a great season. Bruce Weber's done a fabulous job with this team. And you know, Brent, sometimes when you get out of the conference, you get to the NCAA tournament, the familiarity leaves, the scouting reports are a little different. This is a dangerous team in the NCAA tournament because they play great defense.
And now, tonight's game track brought to you by DirecTV and your choice for player of the game.
Well, it's Jeff Whitney. He's done it on offense, done it defensively. He's passed the ball really well tonight. He's a guy that's rapidly improved in his 4 years at Kansas. The transfer from Arizona, played very little his first 2 years. Last 2 he's come on. He's likely to be a first-round pick. He gives you the shot blocking presence inside, and he's become an improved offensive player.
He's going to make some money in the NBA, folks. And for Holly, he's worked long and hard. He's going to need a little more muscle in the NBA, all the scouts say, but he's worked hard, hasn't he?
It is. You know, when he first got here, he was playing 3 minutes a game. He was a skinny, just over 200-pounder, but give him some credit. He has worked hard in the weight room with their strength coach, Andre Hootie. They have had a team nutritionist as well that has gone shopping with him. Aaron Carbon has helped him keep some of those pounds on his frame. He has made this body and made this happen. And guys, he's also gotten his degree in December. So great credit to Jeff Withy, who went from really a nothing player his freshman year to one of the best in the league.
And Fran, we talked about the fact that one of the things that helped him, Danny Manning was an assistant coach. He's now the head coach at Tulsa. And working with a big man who was coaching him at the time, that really helped the development here.
That was key, and also going up against guys like Cole Aldridge and Thomas Robinson, the Morris twins every day. Both key factors in his development. There's no question about it, Brent. We got a stat for you. under Bill Self, every Kansas big man who started more than 50% of his games at Kansas has made it to the NBA.
That's remarkable. Withy was out on Gibson, influenced that shot. Offensive rebound. Irving dribbles it out. 2 minutes remaining here.
Oh, sweet.
Stayed right with it for that field goal. Kansas State going to use a timeout here. Yeah, we look at all these great graphics that we've got, and I didn't mention Greg Bush and Greg Longstaff and Sherry Aarons who help us with it. I mean, folks, we get so much help along the way, as do all of the broadcast crews. It's remarkable. I want to take you back. I want to take you back to a moment that I love. Kansas coach Bill Self. Now, he was involved in a 2012 celebrity softball game here, and yeah, he was not a fan favorite. There's been a lot of Kansas State fans there. So here he's coming to the plate now. Somebody in the dugout said, you know, we did wonder if he could do this. Jenny Finch, Hall of Fame softball pitcher. Oh yeah. Self took her deep.
He took her deep.
Whoa,
yep.
My.
He went yard.
And he gave it to little Gibson coming around.
He did.
I think
Gibson
he went back to the dugout, and one of the other celebrities said, who are you anyway?
Well, don't forget, K-State fans, and we are in the state of Missouri, by the way. Just want to point that out to you.
Well, that's probably why it was booed.
Yeah.
I was blaming the Kansas State fans. Now that I think about it, whatever happened to those rascals from Columbia anyhow?
Oh,
I miss them at this time.
I know it. It's been a great week. It really has. It's had, you know, because of the teams that got to the Final Four here, it had a little bit of the old Big Eight. I was looking for Johnny Orr.
Jumping in on McLemore in the back now with his full court press. Tharp helped bring that ball across. This is the other youngster who has improved so much is Tharp. Johnson, and you know, Johnson's not your pure point guard. He's an awfully good offensive player and terrific defensive player. So when they need somebody else to handle the ball, Tharp is now ready to do that too as we get into the thick of the tournament next week. And they could be right here for their first 2 games. There's Tharp, feed it, fire it.
Well, in 2008, when they won the national championship, they lost their 6 top players. Bill Self's got another very good recruiting class coming in, along with some of these young guys like Ellis and Tharp. Landon Lucas redshirting. Kansas not going away. Kansas State will have a lot of these guys back as well.
Well, this will be 3 of 4 for the Jayhawks. They didn't get there last year. Baylor knocked them off in the semifinal game, but before that they had beaten Texas and Kansas State in the 2 previous championship games. Jayhawk faithful on their feet now for the last minute because they know the Jayhawks are closing in on a possible #1 seed. And afterwards, go to ESPN3 and you'll watch exclusive live coverage of the Big 12 Championship Trophy celebration. You can also view it on Big12Sports.com. So the Jayhawks will get their championship trophy here momentarily. Rock, chalk, Jayhawk, baby.
Tell you what, Brent, this is a guy, we're going to see him in the NCAA tournament, but I've had so much fun covering this guy. He's a class act. He's a great kid, a great student. He helped Kansas State to its first Big 12 title.
And now Bruce Weber empties his bench. As a few youngsters get out there, I see Ryan Schultz, the junior from Wichita, came out. Michael Orris from Crete. Withy is now going out for the Jayhawks with a thunderous round of applause. Magruder also headed off for the sideline along with Irving. You'll next see K-State and Kansas in the NCAA tournament. Adams, White out there for the Jayhawks. Wesley on the floor and bringing it up. Christian Garrett getting a chance to run out the clock with Nico Roberts. And this is going to do it. As the young man from Los Angeles, California, Christian Garrett, a sophomore, will get it on over now to the son of the coach. The Jayhawks are winners of the Big 12 championship. remarkable dominance by the Jayhawks. Kentucky, they've fallen by the wayside this year, but not Kansas. Indiana couldn't get it done in the Big Ten tournament, but Kansas did in the Big 12. Duke fell by the wayside in the ACC. The Jayhawks pushed on through. Arizona eliminated out west. Kansas wins again. Let's send it now to Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach, there was a point in this game in the second half that Kansas State had really started to make a run. How do you describe your defense that shut them down?
Well, I don't know if we ever shut them down the second half, but we certainly guard them great the first half. Law of averages prevailed. They started making some of the same shots they missed, but bottom line is our offense got a lot better the second half too. And we had some guys step up, and you know, Jeff Withey was great, but Perry Ellis was unbelievable again.
You've been on him, Coach, all the time in practice to be more aggressive. How neat is it to see him finally doing it?
Well, he's got the talent to do it. He's got the talent to be a big-time guy, and he just needs some confidence, and when a couple of things go his way, it's amazing what that did for him.
How do you describe the input of some of your seniors for this championship? Withey, Relaford, Young.
Well, you know, your team is usually only as good as your seniors, and we got 4 studs, and they've all paid their dues, and to think these guys have done what they've done, and none of them are even 1,000-point scorers. It's a pretty special group. They love this place, and they play for Kansas each and every night, and I'm really, really happy for them.
Coach, I know it's really close right now, but what would be your case to be a #1 seed coming up Sunday?
I don't know. If you know, I think we've had a great year. We had a bad week, but we've had an unbelievable year, and yeah, I don't know if we're deserving or not, because there's a lot of good teams out there, but certainly our resume is pretty impressive. I think we've got quite a few wins against some opponents that are going to be playing in the NCAA tournament. So who knows what will happen, but we'll be pleased whatever happens.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thanks.
Kansas wins the Big 12 championship 70-54. This is just the start, folks. Louisville, Syracuse coming up next for the Big East title. For Holly Rowe, Fran Fraschilla, and our entire crew, I'm Brent Musburger saying so long for the Big 12 in Kansas City. Now back to the studio.